the new soundtrack of Tel Aviv nightlife. Night 3 of Iranian retaliation. Night 3 of protective Iron Dome interceptor rockets. Night 3 of some missiles making it through. There were multiple attacks across Israel during the night, the last round just before dawn.
It's just come up to 5 a.m. The strike happened about half an hour ago. Behind us, there's still fire crews trying to put something out in a building to the side. The front of it has completely come down. Search and rescue crews are in there at the moment. But unlike other strikes that we've been at over the last couple of days, this is the heart of Tel Aviv. We are surrounded by buildings and huge amounts of people.
Emergency workers drowned the flash fires of an explosive impact, and searchlights surveyed the contorted concrete and twisted steel that used to be homes. The city streets of this upmarket neighbourhood littered with the burned out husks of war.
We were in the basement and then we felt the shock, and then the basement, this massive steel door that's usually it stays shut, it just completely flew open, and then we got really scared because we could feel the impact and we knew, and it's just like when you're under that, it's basically Russian roulette, like you don't know which house is next.
When you came out of the shelter,
yeah, I ran to the apartment to see what happened, with my house, and I saw that there is no house.
At least 8 people were killed at 5 locations across Israel overnight. The total now in the last 3 nights, 24 dead and nearly 500 injured. The planned impact isn't only human though, but commercial too. The scene just next to an oil refinery in Haifa last night. Plumes of smoke billowing into the skies, a response to strikes Israel launched on Iranian oil depots this weekend. No matter the target, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told his fighter pilots today they can fly near enough unchallenged.
The Israeli Air Force controls the skies of Tehran. This is a change in the entire campaign. We are on our way to achieving our 2 goals, eliminating the nuclear threat and eliminating the missile threat. When we control the skies of Tehran, we are hitting these targets, the targets of the regime.
World leaders have urged him to de-escalate, but this is a man who listens little to the urges of others. The attack on Iran and the waves of retaliatory strikes has created rare political consensus, with many opposition figures lending their backing to a prime minister they wanted gone only last week. On his city's streets, though, there is fear. Although the death toll in Israel is far lower than that inflicted on Iran and the thousands in Gaza, many Israelis are coming to terms with their newfound vulnerability.
a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and you hear those air raid sirens, would you have always gone into the shelter?
So the stuff that's happening now, yeah, but the stuff that was coming from Gaza, no. But this stuff is just, I mean, you can see the damage. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
The damage caused by the missiles is a game changer. You see it, and everyone go into the shelter.
The question now facing Israelis. The Prime Minister may believe this is the price worth paying to open up a new front in this regional conflict. But do they?
Paul McNamara reporting. Well, earlier I spoke to the President of Israel, Yitzhak Herzog, a former chair of Israel's Labour Party who's held several ministerial roles. I began by asking him whether Israel now feels more vulnerable.
I understand that Israelis are in full coherence with the fact that they know that we are removing an existential threat, a threat that was about to break forward an Iranian nuclear program and an Iranian bomb in front of our eyes. But so it's clear that we had to do it, right. And Israelis are in total calm with it.
But was it really necessary? Because there were going to be more talks this Sunday, which have now been called off. You know, there are many people, including the Trump administration, who believe that the Iranians were on a diplomatic track here.
Except
so
that
was this war really necessary? And if it wasn't, is this a dangerous gamble?
Except that they're shying away from very clear facts. We knew that the Iranians are moving to the bomb. We showed it to the administration. And by the way, it's a threat not only to Israel. It's a clear and imminent threat to the region and clear and imminent threat to Europe.
But we know that Prime Minister Netanyahu has opposed any kind of diplomatic engagement with Iran when it comes to nuclear enrichment or nuclear programs from the very beginning. We also know that when there was a deal done between the US and Iran, the enrichment went right down. And it only then accelerated after Trump scrapped the deal.
Except that in recent years we've seen a constant change and progress and advancement of the Iranian nuclear program. Billions of dollars poured into it, and engineers and scientists working endlessly towards it. And they've developed a huge missile program. And don't forget October 7th, because that's a key change, meaning all of a sudden that empire of proxies and evil all over the region has started closing in on Israel. And we know that they have plans constantly to eradicate Israel.
Are you using this, are you seizing this opportunity because you have depleted Iran's allies? Does your government see this as an opportunity to do the one thing you've always wanted to do, which is regime change in Iran?
So I will say, first of all, that we don't think that all these proxies are gone away. On the contrary, they're still full with armaments and they're planning to attack us all the time. And secondly, you know, we didn't declare that this is one of the objectives of our operation. However, we do say to the Iranian people, it's your chance if you want to. You're under one of the most oppressive regimes.
You might actually rally the Iranian people, even those who hate the Ayatollahs,
so
behind the government.
That's why I say clearly, it's not one of the objectives, but we know for sure that there is a huge storm within the Iranian people, and they do not agree with their government and they want change.
Is Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader, a legitimate target for Israel?
Ayatollah Khamenei is the leader of a country that advocates terror, havoc, and eradicating my nation.
Does that make him a legitimate target?
Wait a minute. So anybody who advocates and operates terror against us is always a target, but I want to make clear it's not one of the objectives of our operation right now, and therefore I don't really want to give you a full answer.
Are the citizens, the civilian citizens of cities like Tehran, are they legitimate?
No, not at all. And we say it clearly. We obey strictly the rules of international humanitarian law, and we made it clear. The Iranian civilians are not the target, and they're not our enemies.
Are you going to do in parts of Iran, maybe in Tehran, what you did in Gaza?
I don't think so. It's not our aim. We want to make sure that where are all the elements that form the nuclear program of Iran, that's where we will deal.
But isn't the danger with this that, you know, you can bomb the facilities, you can kill the scientists, but you can't bomb the knowledge? And that once they've recovered from this very bruising experience, there's going to be a sprint towards a nuclear weapon.
But for that, you need the partnership with the free world, who is convening today in Canada for the G7 summit. For years, they've been condemning Iran. For years, they've been saying, hey, we must stop the Iranian nuclear program. For years, they've taken steps and passed on resolutions. Well, now is the moment.
One of the reasons why they might not be supporting you, these governments, is because a lot of the publics in the West, they've turned against Israel because of what you've done in Gaza.
I am very much aware of what people see in their criticism of Israel, but they also have to understand...
You accept that criticism, by the way?
We understand the criticism, but we don't agree with it. Meaning, when you see day in, day out only certain narrative, which doesn't reflect the fact that, let's take, for example, a hospital in Khan Yunis. We don't bomb the hospital in Khan Yunis. We go underneath and we find the command and control center of
the whole
Hamas.
hospital collapses on top of it.
No, the command and we never brought down a whole hospital. It's not true.
Are you hoping that the Americans will get involved? Are you trying to draw them into the conflict?
We are not playing these games. We have an open and frank dialogue with the United States of America. And we trust our alliance with the Americans.
President Herzog, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.